Today is Friday of the 20th week in Ordinary Time. So heartwarming, the story of Naomi, the Israelite widow, and her daughter-in-law Ruth, the Moabite foreigner. It is a deeply personal, affectionate portrayal of companionship and mutual care between a younger woman and an older woman. It has few, if any, counterparts in the Jewish scripture. A parallel, perhaps, in Christian scripture is the story of the very young and newly pregnant Mary going in haste to the Judean countryside to visit her aged and pregnant cousin Elizabeth. Elizabeth shouts with joy to see Mary at her arrival, and they remain together for 3 months. Women who have been pregnant will know better than I what this time together must have been like for Elizabeth and Mary. But their sense of companionship and mutual support must have been wonderful for them, as it was for Naomi and Ruth. At the risk of making unfair gender claims, I have to wonder why the religious officials in today's gospel are, by comparison, so toxic. We see Jesus, fresh from his victorious confrontation with the Sadducees, now finding a scholar of the law, challenging him on the law's greatest commandment. The irony, of course, is that the scholar's confrontation violates the very commandments Jesus identifies: loving God and loving neighbor. Is this a gender thing or a personality thing? Perhaps psychologists could tell us more than I know. But what we can know is that this behavior goes back to Adam and Eve, when they preferred freedom from the law to obedience to the law. It is no wonder that we are entertained by the newly buff but still baby-faced Tobey Maguire playing Peter Parker when he humiliates the school bully in the first Spider-Man movie. Even less wonder that we love Harry Potter's ability to handle opposition with a wand and the right spells, not to mention a potion or a marauder's map. Oh, that we should be so lucky. And yet, our key to hope is the unsophisticated, untroubled, genuine friendship of Naomi and Ruth, of Mary and Elizabeth. Behind me is the Georgetown University Astronomical Observatory, the third oldest in the United States, dating from 1844. One researcher here was Vera Rubin, who received a PhD in astronomy from the university in 1954. She was a mother and a wife and an astronomer who pioneered work on galaxy rotation rates that gave early evidence of dark matter. For this work, she was awarded the National Medal of Science by President Bill Clinton. One can only imagine the Sadducees and the scholars of the law she must have had to confront. Yet, in her career, she advocated for women in science and mentored aspiring female astronomers. One imagines, too, that to these women she was Naomi, or perhaps Elizabeth, productive, compassionate, memorable. She shows Naomi and Elizabeth, she shows us that Naomi and Elizabeth remain mentors for us today, and for us men too. They model the greatest commandment of the Jewish law for us and for all. Let's be grateful for them, as I am sure Ruth and Mary were. And not just grateful, let's emulate them as the models of Jewish and Christian virtue for a world of Sadducees and scholars of the law.